أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We turn to page 62, joining letters in Arabic writing, and here we group together ba, ta, tha, noon, ya. And under A you see ba alone, ta alone, tha alone, and noon alone, and ya alone. A I abbreviated for alone. B, the symbol I use there is for beginning. So that's how ba is at the beginning, written at the beginning. Ta, tha, noon, ya. The shapes are the same, the dots differ, and the dot is usually there where the vertical line is, where the vertical line is the nick, vertical nick. Then we have M for middle, and in the middle they all look the same. The form is the same, the dots differ. And the dots are exactly where the nick is. It's not actually vertical, it's slightly slanted. But you will get used to that in the writing of if you look at the Quran itself, then you can see good writing there, good calligraphy. And at the end, you will see the shapes of ba, ta, and tha are the same. The form is the same, the dots differ. And then noon is unique at the end, and then ya is unique at the end. The writing, and under the line, you see a combination of ba, ta, ya, noon, ba. Now in the middle, you can just practice there and just make your shapes. If you start with a ba, you can make many nicks and just put the dots where you want to, and it will be that. Ta, tha, ya, tha, you see there. And ya, ta, ya, noon. And ba, tha, ya, noon, that's one dot. And then ya, and then the end shape is a ya. Eventually what we will do is a slight variation in writing. I use this writing because this is the printed writing, the way books are printed. But there is also the freehand writing of the Arabs, and that freehand writing slightly differs. That's why many people, when they see people write in freehand and you are not used to it, you can't understand it, we will do that as well. Page 63, we continue with the writing, joining of letters. We have Jim, Ha, Kha, Ain, Ghain grouped together because it has the same form. So you have Jim under row B at the beginning, Ha, Kha, Ain, Ghain, and then you have Jim, Ha, Kha, Ain, Ghain in the middle. It can be joined in the middle, and then you have the end where Jim, Ha, Kha look the same except for the difference in the dots. But Ain and Ghain, Ain and Ghain look the same, but they differ from Jim, Ha, and Kha. And that's important to note because many students make a mistake to see the Kha as a Ghain because they don't see how the Ghain is closed at the end and it's closed in the middle, whereas the Kha is open in the middle. We continue on page 64, again with joining letters. And here we group together Dal, Dal, Ra, Za, Waw, and Alif, because these can stand at the beginning, but they cannot be joined in the middle. So you have only a beginning and an end for these, but you cannot attach anything at the after this. You cannot attach anything at the end of this. For example, you have one there. You can't attach alif to waw. You have done there at the bottom of the line. You can't attach alif to dal. But look, you have ba there. Because you can attach it alif to the ba, but you cannot attach alif or anything to another alif or to a waw or to a za or to a ra or to a dal or to a dal. And the last word we have there is ahadun. There you can see you can attach a ha to a dal, but you wouldn't be able to attach another dal to a dal or another dal, ra, za, waw, and alif. So in short, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you cannot attach anything after it. Then on page 65, we have seen, sheen, sod, dod, tolvo grouped together. Because at the beginning, you see seen and sheen look the same. Dots are different on sheen. Sod, dod look the same, except for the dot, for the dot on there. And the tolvo look the same, except for the dot on the vo. And then you attach it in the middle. You can have a middle with a beginning and an end, and you have it at the end. Seen, sheen look the same, sal, dod look the same at the end, and tol, vo look the same at the end. The examples we have there is ta, seen, and we have ein, seen, and we have sad, nun, ein. Here on page 66, we grouped fa and qaf together because fa and qaf, they look different when they stand alone. At the beginning, they look the same except for the dots, fa 1 dot, qaf 2 dots. In the middle, they look the same, fa 1 dot, qaf 2 dots. And at the end, you see the unique shape. Fa looks like that, and qaf looks deeper down. Then we group together kaf, lam, mim, and ha. And then you see kaf looks like that at the beginning, lam like that, and meme like that at the beginning, and ha. They all look the same, they're different at the beginning. In the middle, you see kaf has a unique shape. Lam is just up, but lam you can attach at the beginning and at the end. Remember, if that might look like an alif, but it can't be because an alif you can't attach at the end. And then the meme, just like a circle in the middle. And then the ha, there are two conventional ways in which they write the ha. They write it like that in the middle or like that in the middle. And then meme, two conventional ways they write it at the end like that or like that. And then ha is just written like that at the end when it's attached. When it stands behind a dal where you can't attach it, of course it only looks like a circle. On page 67, now we will try to explain forms of verbs. Now we have to pay very careful attention by what we mean here. Three-letter verbs. By three letters we mean it like at number one, the Roman number one there you have fa, la. That means you have a fa and an ein and a lam. You have three letters. So that's the first form of the verb. Now, what we mean by as 15 derived forms, it means as fa'ala, that means to do, or he did. That's the first form of the verb, the simplest form of the verb. He did. But then you have fa'ala. You can see the shutdown there. It's still a past tense verb. It still means he did, but in a more intensive way. It's a second form of the verb. And then fa'ala. It's a third form of the verb. Now, I'm not going to go in to explain the meaning of each form here. I will post something separate to show you detailed meanings of the different forms. I want to show here that you have about 15 forms. You can have about 15 forms for one verb, for one triliteral verb. That fa'ala could have been kasara also, or it could have been kataba. It's the same form of verb number one. Like number one, you have fa'ala, or you could have kataba, you could have kasara. For number two, you could have had fa'ala, or you could have had kasara or kataba. That would be the second form of the verb. For number three, you have fa'ala, and you could have kataba, or you could have kasara. For number four, you have af'ala. And a good example is you substitute the fa and the ain with a sin. You can have aslama. That's something everyone knows. Aslama is where the word Muslim comes from. That's a root verb of the word Muslim. And 5, tafa'ala. 6, tafa'ala. 7, imfa'ala. 8, ifta'ala. 9, if'ala. 10, istaf'ala. You will come across this form of the verb very much. If'ala. And then number 12, if'aw'ala. And then number 13, if'awwala. And number 14, if'anlala. And number 15, if'anla. Now, you will hardly come across many of these. What will be very common will be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and perhaps number 5, and number 6, and number 7, number 8, and perhaps number 9 and number 10. And you will hardly come across number 11, number 12, number 13, number 14, and number 15, those forms of the verb. And the purpose for this lecture is, and a few other pages that will follow, will just to give you an overview of forms of verbs. And remember, this is a 3-letter verb, and we have a purpose for explaining why this is a 3-letter verb, as you will see later. On page 68, for each you have the active, like the active verb, that's the root verb, like fa'ala. Fa'ala, he did. Kataba also, he wrote. And kasara, he broke. And then you have the passive for each, like fu'ila, it was done. And kutiba, for example, it was written. And kusira, it was broken. Then you have the verb noun, which is fi'lun, that's the action. In the case of kataba, it's kitab, is the verb noun. And you have the doer, the verb doer, like the fa'il. He is doing. And like katib, he is writing. The object of the verb you have, like the maf'ulun, and we will always refer to the object of the verb as the maf'ul, and we will always refer to the doer of the verb as the fa'il. Now the maf'ul is was done, and then or was done upon, and then the command you have if'al. That means write, singular. You're commanding one person, male, to write. To do the if'al. And if you command him to write, you say uktub. And like the first verse of the Quran, you command him to read, you say iqra. And you have these in plural. You have it in dual, and you have it in present tense, also plural. Dual, masculine or feminine, all those different conjugations. And this is just to give you an overview.